Good evening. I am excited that I've been able to bring together three local folks who have been affected by the insurance crisis that's spreading across our country, specifically in states like Florida, Texas, and Louisiana. These Floridians are they're bringing you their stories tonight, and they're going to really touch your soul, but they're also going to help us think through what we're going to be facing over the next few years in this country as insurance companies leave us hanging, not just as a community, but also as business owners. So I want to introduce our panel tonight of Florida citizens who are definitely tapped in and ready to talk about this insurance crisis in Florida. First off, Dr. Jody Bear, and Dr. Jody Bear is a entrepreneur, also a health empowerment coach, a what 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Amazon Times bestseller author. I don't even know how many times how many books she's written.
49. 49.
49. See y'all. See 49. That is awesome. And Karen Rudolph, who is an empowerment coach and also someone who's been adversely affected by not only the hurricanes, but her insurance company's lack of concern. Karen, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And then I almost want to say doctor because I know the way he moves through these houses is like precision surgeon. Rob Baird, who has a homeowners and an excellent service that provides contracting there in Florida. I believe you're in South Florida there, Rob. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hello, glad to be here.
So I wanted to start off with Karen and then Dr. Jody. Can you tell us a little bit about what affected your home initially? So initial effect was what? Was it hurricane, and which hurricane? And then what transpired after the effect of the hurricane?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It was Hurricane Ian for me last year that came through. It hit my house from the north, and being at the south end of Sarasota, I got pretty badly nailed by it. Took all my fences down. It took me 10 days to clean up the bamboo. It was so bad. But more importantly, the water came in from the north end of the house, on the north end of the side of the house, and the flashing that goes into I think it's called the flashing that goes into the attic, was completely ripped off. So all the water from hours was just pounding into the house down the wall, which was my bathroom and my daughter's bedroom right now. And I didn't think anything of it at the moment. And after the hurricane, I put the flashing back up, and I hadn't even thought about mold. Hadn't given it any thought whatsoever. But it took me, honestly, a couple of few to get in touch with the insurance agency. They offered me a small amount of money, which wouldn't, and my roof was damaged pretty badly as well. So they offered me a menial amount, and I said, no, it's not going to work. And I ended up hiring a public adjuster, and he went to bat for me, and they didn't up the ante much to take care of any of the stuff that was the damage that was done. And I ended up going with an attorney, and I've been sitting on that and barely hear from them at all. So
just to recap, you contacted your insurance company. Your insurance company said, okay, we'll look at the damage is done. Here's 5% of what you asked for, or here's 10% of what you asked for.
It wasn't even that much.
Wow. That's terrific.
Yes.
But then you said something very interesting that I took note of. You were able to hire an adjuster who's a public adjuster. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what a public adjuster does?
So, yes. So an insurance company will send out their adjuster, But
Right.
again, their main concern is not necessarily for my welfare and my benefit.
Right.
It's for the benefit and the welfare of holding on to the insurance company's money. So
Exactly.
when they offered me a ridiculously low, I mean, they offered me literally $5,000. And I'm like, where do you even start with that? I have a huge roof. I've got, they gave me an estimate of they being a fencing company of $22,000, and I hadn't even checked out what they would cost for the rest. So by hiring a public adjuster, he goes to bat for me. So he basically went up on the roof. He took pictures. He gave me an estimate of what he thought it was going to take, and
How far away was he from where you were? Was it in the same ballpark?
oh, it was above the ballpark.
Oh wow.
It
Wow.
was way above the ballpark. And, they were like, well, I've got a company for you. I've got an attorney for you. And don't worry, we've got you handled. And I'm still waiting.
Got it. Um, I think that is a good point for us to go to Dr. Jody. Dr. Jody Bear, can you tell us how you were affected? What precipitated your house being in the situation it is in today, and then let us know about your experience with your insurance company.
And thank you, Martin, for putting this together, and just for us starting the ball rolling. Because the reason I'm glad that we're here and we met is because if nothing happens, nothing happens. And I thought nothing happened with us with Hurricane Ian. 3 months after Hurricane Ian, as Rob Baird would attest, he's been our handyman, and he's a great repair service out of Eustis, Florida, and Umatilla in Central Florida. And this was one time that we called Rob Baird. What happened in January? I had seen in December there was a slight water spot. And as we all get busy as entrepreneurs, and the wintertime, being a health coach and holistic nutritionist, I'm always really, really busy. Didn't think much of it. And the night in January, I was getting ready for a road trip on speaking. I do a lot of public speaking on general holistic health, and it was like Niagara Falls came through my his and hers closet on either side. My husband, Bob Baird, which is not related to Rob Baird, my husband Bob went ahead and we took together 22 garbage, as far as garbage cans full, like the kitchen garbage can, of water into the tub in just a short few hours. Then
Wow.
called Rod Baird right away. He went up, he sealed up the leak, but this water had been coming on through a couple of broken tiles. We didn't know it. And what had happened, then we got the adjuster out. Just like Karen, they came up, well, it's going to be about a $9,000 job. Okay. 10 and a half months later, we are now sitting right as we were speaking. And what happened in the meantime, the mold had gotten into 60% of our house. My husband and I did not know, being a holistic health coach and nutritionist PhD, all I knew is I wasn't feeling well, Martin, Karen, audience, Rob. I wasn't feeling well. I was putting on unexpected pounds. I don't do that as a health coach. I know I've had 43 years of experience. I did my go-to. I did one cleanse. I felt worse. I did another. I felt even worse. I was losing my hair, not as much as yours, Martin, but I was losing it. Okay. And what happened was I decided to be proactive after they said there was mold, and I went ahead and got a mycotox report. All I'm saying, if you're out there listening to this, ladies and gentlemen, be proactive. Mold is a silent killer. I will tell you this right now. I was healthy. I'm basically a vegetarian. I'm not vegan, but I am vegetarian. I eat clean, healthy. I had, as a 68-year-old woman, mold of 5 deadly molds inside of my body, a 92% contaminated. My husband, who is 12 years older than me, had 98% contamination. Y'all know when you get to 100%, they just go ahead and do an autopsy and that's it. So what happened? Similar to Karen, I just called and called and called. We're now with 5 adjusters later to wrap this up. This has been stress, unbelievable on us. When you're almost 70 and 82, like my husband is, time marches forward, and time marches forward to the point that a year is a lot of time. The stress that has been on our marriage, and I see that Carrie is now joining us. That's wonderful. Of with our marriage, the fact that it has been stressful on him. He threw his back out and couldn't work for 2 months. Insurance companies don't care. They don't
Right.
care. Now we are just like Karen in the means we had to, I didn't know enough to get a public adjuster. If I had not had my friend and our family member, Rob Baird, I don't know what we would have done. People, I am very blessed to have known him. He knew people. There are people that were paying off in payments that helped us, pay some of our house. Our house still isn't ready to move in yet. This is the lunacy of an insurance company. They have kept us in a rental house to the tune of $40,000 over this time, and that is half of what they owe us in remediation. They gave us rules after the fact that made no sense to try to cover themselves, as I would say. Then you have a situation where they do these things because they're not your friend. As I've said before on different things, and on Traverse TV in Orlando, Central Florida, where I just did a show about this and what I had gone through. The mold was horrific. I felt like I had morning sickness. You women, you know what that feels like, for 6 months. It is nothing short of horrific. So then you put the fact that you're still working, and then you put the stress that you don't hear back from anyone, and then you put the stress on that you're older and you're in your senior years, and you have to deal with this. And then the fact that they put you up in a rental when all they would have had to do is fix the rest of our home. This is easy as an entrepreneur. Pay us our money, but fix up the rest of our home so we can move in. Yet our lease agreement is up on the 26th of December, and they schedule our mediation for January 3rd. So it's ongoing, and there's no rhyme or reason except in today's world, Martin, Rob, Karen, Carrie, the idea is you pay your bills, and when you need your insurance, they don't pay. My question is, where is the money? Who has it? Karen, Carrie, and myself do not have it. And that's what I'd like to say at the very beginning. It's been horrific. My health is much better, but see, I knew what to do. What if you don't know what to do? What happens then? And that to me is an absolute travesty.
Yeah, that's horrific. And not only did you know what to do, you also had resources. I know it was personally knowing you, it was difficult to find those resources, but you had resources as an attorney. You were able to find Karen and Carrie, and of course you had Rob. For people who don't have resources,
they have zero.
Right. And that's the thing I think that I would like to take a moment to just play what ABC TV news affiliate WPBF there in Florida has to say just last month about the insurance crisis facing Florida. Give me a minute to just get it set up. And this is their program they call On the Record.
Nearing a gut-wrenching anniversary, a storm that shook the state to its core, Hurricane Ian.
Some of the damage was, almost indescribable.
Can you guys see it or hear it?
We can hear it.
Okay, it's not playing. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just stop. Let me stop it and start it again.
A shadow of catastrophe.
Let me stop it and start it again. And let's remove it and share it. Let me present it. Stop sharing. Okay, cool. And go back to share. And go here and say we're sharing audio. Cool beans. Okay. Can you guys hear it? Or
A
no?
little louder.
Okay, hold on one second.
We'll get it.
Insurance market spirals, and
Perfect.
navigating the exodus of insurance companies and those skyrocketing
That's good.
premiums. Right now, every county from the Palm Beaches through the Treasure Coast is averaging an annual premium above $2,900.
Palm Beach County has nearly twice that amount at $5,700. That is the second highest average in the state, only trailing Monroe County. People who live in Palm Beach County are sharing their thoughts with us about the crisis.
It seems like they want us to be homeless or something. Everything, food, gas, insurance, everything's going up.
Premiums are at an all-time high with insurance. We need to get them down in the state of Florida. Hopefully our constituents up in Tallahassee will get it down, and people can reap the benefits down here, because Florida is a great place to live. We just got to get that insurance back down.
Now let's go on the record on the issue. Joining us, Democratic State Senator Bobby Powell, Republican State Representative Rick Roth. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here for our inaugural episode of On the Record. Right away, let's talk first, and I'll start with you, Representative.
We're going to come back to that, and I want to make sure that we give Carrie a chance to come in on the conversation. Carrie, I don't know if you can unmute or. Carrie, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
I could just be here just for a few minutes.
Welcome, Carrie.
Hi.
Can you guys hear Carrie?
No, I don't think she's talking.
Oh,
I think
okay,
she's.
okay. Oh,
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
thought you were
Martin,
talking.
you can make one of your amazing introductions. That'd be great.
Oh,
That's right. Hey, Carrie, I see your mic.
yeah, hi.
There you go. Okay, excellent. Yeah, so welcome. I know that you are a therapist that deals with cranial therapy. Can you let us know what led or what precipitated the action at your residence, and then how your experience trying to work with your insurance company has been?
I mean, this was a couple years ago, and I had mold damage in my home, and my insurance denied the claim, and my homeowners insurance, and my homeowners association denied their responsibility. So everyone was saying it's not our fault. So I had to move out of my house. I had black mold and aspergillus mold, and I was also dealing with cancer at the time, and I had to move out of my home, and I had everything on, and I was with the insurance company and the HOA. I stayed out for as long as I could afford, and then I moved in, and I fought with them for over a half to get money to repair my my kitchen back in order, and they just wouldn't give me enough money to, and so a lot of pocket to take care of that and put my house back together.
You're muted, Martin.
Thank you, Carrie. Just out of curiosity, your insurance company is different than Dr. Jody Bear's and also different than Karen's. Is that correct?
I'm not familiar with what insurance company they have. That wasn't discussed.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So Dr. Jody, your insurance company is Universal.
Yes.
Karen, what insurance company do you have?
Homeowners Choice.
Okay. And Carrie, what insurance company do you have or had?
Oh my gosh. I can't even remember at the moment, in the moment, but they actually went out of business.
Right, right.
And actually, thank God I settled with them, because they went out of business and I would never have gotten any money from them. But it was very emotionally draining, because boyfriend had just died. I was dealing with breast cancer, and this was like the last thing I needed to deal with.
Right,
there was
right.
no one to help at all. No one to help me, and it just sucks the life out of you. It's hard. It's hard to do. Keep going, and to put your house in order, and to deal with contracts, the materials, and everything put together. It takes a lot out of your life. And actually, my boyfriend was diagnosed with cancer, and I too, and we often wondered how long mold had been there, for how long, because it appeared to be for a very long time, and I didn't know it. And so, did mold contribute to our cancers? We'll never know. But no attorneys that I was looking to talk to would take on like that.
When you said no attorney to take on, they wouldn't take on the going after the insurance, or they wouldn't take on attributing the mold to the cancer and then going after the insurance for that.
Both.
Okay.
I spoke to 4 or 5 different insurance companies. Different attorneys, and no one wanted to be involved. I was desperate, and each person I talked to, they just said, no, it's really not a lot we can do. Try to settle. They're going to settle with you. Try to settle. It's just a terrible game that the insurance companies play, and we are victims to it. And we pay our insurance premiums for so long, and then you have a problem, and then there's nothing that you could do about it. You're fighting a big system.
Yeah, it's really is. I'm a little bit happy that ABC affiliate there in South Florida is actually covering and calls it a crisis. A lot of places, California, Texas, Louisiana, they're not calling it a crisis yet. And I think that's a big issue for this country, is that we are going to experience, a tremendous insurance upheaval, because the insurance companies are saying, we're out. We don't care. We're out of the state. And you guys are left it to yourselves. Good luck with that. And I think that's ridiculous. And I think that we should be, as citizens, we should be going after these insurance companies for the pain and suffering, if nothing else, and that, as unfortunately as citizens, we now have to figure out, how do we almost self-insure us, and the risk of that, doing self-insurance. But I don't see, with these 3 states, Florida, California, Louisiana, and Texas not happening as bad, but it's starting to happen there also. I don't see what choice we have. I don't see we have a choice at all. If we're going to hold on to our properties, we have to be able to pay for repairs, and we have to figure out some way to pay for repairs. So that's bringing us to our good friend, Rob. And Rob, one thing that the news is reporting that insurance companies are saying, quote unquote, I say like that with quotation, is that contractors are committing fraud, and that's why they're having to leave these states, and that contractors are giving these high estimates, and the insurance companies, poor insurance companies, are having to pay these high contractor estimates. Have you ever experienced an insurance company taking one of your estimates and saying, Rob, I'm going to cut you a check today?
No. As a matter of fact, in Jody's case in particular, it didn't matter what I said.
Yes.
See, they're saying that, but they didn't ask me anything. They didn't ask me what I found, what was going on, or nothing. It was all up to their adjuster and what they decided. Only insurance I have that I do not feel bad about is my life insurance. Because when I die, they have to pay whatever we agreed upon, whatever I'm paying for when I die. They can't get out of that.
Right.
Car insurance, homeowners insurance, and all the rest of it, they're going to wiggle as much as they can. So, no, I completely disagree with that. It may have happened in a few cases, but I had no input at all into what was going on at Jody's.
You gave your estimate, Rob. You had friends that came in, gave their estimates. They were really low. Remember that?
Yeah.
Really low. We gave them, and they still didn't pay. They gave it almost that. And I'm just going to interject, Martin, because I love the story that you tell as a business owner, Rob, that if you get a good price for something, they don't pay. What does that cost you, Rob?
Oh, it cost me a lot, because what people don't realize is if I do a $500 job and I don't get paid for it, but I use $300 worth of material, not only didn't I get paid the $500, but I had to take $300 out of my pocket to pay for the material. So I'm getting screwed all the way around.
And I'm 52. In anybody's lifetime, have you seen it this bad?
No.
I would say probably not, but it's all become like a game to them. Let's see how much we don't have to pay these people. It used to be you could do things with a handshake and you could depend on your insurance company taking care of you. And I remember telling Jody, I said, I have run across cases like this where the homeowner has had to get an attorney to fight with their insurance company. And she said, oh, no, that's not going to happen. But here we are.
Yes. All three of us. And I remember I told you, Rob, don't be so negative. They're going to take care of me. I pay my, because you're a friend of the family. I said, don't be so negative. They're going to take, we've always paid our bills and we've never had a claim.
How many years did your husband have the insurance?
40, since he came back from Vietnam.
40-year customer.
Yes.
That's the other thing that's a little bit hard, I think, initially for most Americans, maybe not for Floridians or people from Louisiana or Texas and California now because of the wildfires, but it's hard for most people to wrap their head around. You have a company that you've been paying for, and then they just decide to shut down, just close their doors. We're gone.
We're gone.
Like I think that I don't think that most Americans can understand. Like in your husband's case, paying into a company for 40 years.
You know what, Martin? My math is very bad. I'm a health coach, not a mathematician. Let's try 60 years. That was 68 to 1923. That's more than 40 years. Okay. Forgive me.
Okay. Right. I mean, I think that's why this is a crisis, because instead of paying out what they're supposed to pay out, even if they're going to argue, and that's for me, my lifetime has always been insurance companies never pay what they're supposed to pay. That's always been an issue in my family with messing with, we're really up north people. So messing with Blue Cross and Blue Shield or anybody else, Allstate, I don't care. All the big boys, they never paid my family what we paid into. But at least they were around. Like, my daughter who's 2, I could say, hey, grandpa had Allstate. But what we're finding in Florida and Texas and Louisiana and California, none of these companies that were here 10 years ago are there. No. Companies that were here 20 years ago, they're all gone.
May I?
Yes.
Yeah, what I found very fascinating in my case, and I can only speak from my own experiences, was I had gotten frustrated because I got a bill in the mail that my homeowners insurance had gone up. And one of the things that I froze during Ian was the big thing was if you put a claim in, they're going to drop you. And there's only one company left in Florida that might pick you up. So my intent was to go see like how much it is. And if it's something that I can manage. I had a major accident this year, which I put a lot of money into. I don't have a lot of money left to be fixing up a whole house roof and everything else. I've got asthma. I can't breathe. I'm stuffed up. It's my daughter's complaining of chest pains. And it's like nobody wants to hear it. Excuse me, I'm a stuffy.
No, it's okay.
So it was just fascinating because when I called the insurance company and I said, listen, I haven't gotten any information from you and I haven't gotten anywhere with this. They said, oh, well, we're looking at your claim now and it's been canceled. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I immediately called my public adjuster who called the attorney and they were like, no, we've got a case. We're going to, we might have to go to court. And I'm like, well, that's not what they're telling me. So there's a a gap. There's a misconnection between, but they were Johnny on the spot to raise my bill for next year. Yes.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, what would they be suing in county? Would they be suing in state? You know, where would your attorney file a lawsuit at?
That's
Did
a good
you-
question. I don't even know at this point because I
Yeah.
can't get hold of my attorney.
Well,
I
that's
called-
one issue. But the reason I bring that up is because as citizens, you know, this is going to become a movement, and it's starting with you guys, you know, as Floridian citizens who want to see insurance reform. We have to now look at, you know, what judges these cases are going to land in front of, right? And we want to know, you know, what court are we going to be making sure that the judge, when they run up for election, you know, is going to be a friend of the family, so to speak, to say, look, I'm willing to stand up against the two companies or one company, whatever it is, it turns out to be in 2024, that's still in Florida, because we've got to be able to hold these companies accountable in Florida and across the country. And I don't want to, you know, I always like to leave things on a good note, so to speak, but I don't know that that's possible in this case. I think that there's certain lessons you all have learned. One, Rob said, you know, get an attorney. Karen, you went out and got a public adjuster. I had never even heard of a public. I didn't even know that was a thing, you know. And so now I'm going to research, is there a National Association of Public Adjusters? Because usually there's some, you know, association that represents these people, and reach out to them to see, you know, because this is their best interest to let more people know that they exist. Exactly. And that we should be using them to fight these companies. Dr. Jody, you know, I know you don't want to go. I don't want you to go into too much of what you're dealing with as far as negotiations. But I mean, what did the insurance company tell you that you didn't have that you actually had?
Well, they said that they didn't give us any instructions. I'd never done this before. They said to take a sheet, list the things that were depreciated. My instance, because I run a home business now that I'm semi-retired. It's going to be 70, but I see I'm still a 43-year-old house coach. I had thousands of dollars of nutraceuticals in the house, and I listed them, and they're disavowing that,
right?
Even though they're in my house,
correct.
They're disavowing this. Then they went back and said, for instance, well, put down what was in your closet. Rob saw the water in my closet. It was big, wasn't it, Rob? It was big. Yeah, it was big. I mean, they had to gut the whole thing out. They had to gut our master bedroom all the way to the garage, the toilet, the bathroom, everything. But then they said, when you're writing down, and I would say that I had 4 dresses, they were a certain brand, and list them. What I went even for the insurance is that I went into AI. I went into ChatGPT, and I listed what the depreciated value would be. Yet they came back 6 months later and said, you didn't take a picture of each of the dresses. Now, y'all, Martin, Rob, have you seen a woman's closet? Yeah. I mean, those are the preposterous things that they said, and as serendipitous as this is, here where Carrie is from the mold that came from Hurricane Wilma, I believe, down in South Florida. That clip that you said was from Palm Beach County. When Bob and I were coming, my husband and I were coming back from Hurricane Idalia, Chris King of WP, I think it is WPBG.
Right.
And this
PBF, sorry.
And PBF in Palm Beach County went ahead and interviewed just random when we were stopping to stop at a truck stop. And we've got this footage. It will be on this website that is below that. We're asking that if you have been affected, these lists will not be sold. It will be not done for anything else except to create a community and perhaps a co-op that you can go in. This was here. Bob and I were looking pretty pitiful coming out of the truck stop there before Hurricane Idalia. But what we're asking you is fill out this form, take down this website. We will do nothing as far as propagating this for any lists or anything else, except if you see being a concerned citizen, because as I said, if nothing happens, nothing happens. And there's Jody and Bob.
Yeah. Thankfully, your news media, local media, seems to be doing God's work, because a lot of times it's hard to get local media to talk to it about an industry such as the insurance. The insurance industry is one of the biggest industries in this country. We know one of the top billionaires in this country has made billions off of insurance, Warren Buffett. So to get them to do a negative story, or a story where people are saying, look, and for them to even use the word crisis in their headlines,
yes.
Is a blessing. So shout out to WPBF and Chris King there, and the other reporters that are making space for people in Florida to talk about the insurance crisis in Florida, which is going to affect a lot of other states in I estimate within 18 months, we're going to see, other states saying this is a crisis. California's already said it. They said they've got 2 insurance companies left, and the insurance companies are out of California. They said, we're leaving. Floods, wildfires, and earthquakes, we're done. And I don't even know if that's, I question, is it even legal for them to just leave people who paid them for years and years and years, leave you holding their bag? Okay, give me back my money. You can leave the state. Give us all back our money.
Really?
One thing that we haven't talked about is this hurricane deductible. If my roof blows off in a rainstorm, I've got like $1,000 deductible. But if it blows off in a hurricane, I've got like a $5,000 deductible.
Whoa.
Where's the
gap?
Yeah.
And my question has always been, all these years that they go by, that they collect all the money, and then they have a bad year. And I'm in business, so I understand at the end of the day, you need to make a profit. But where'd all the money go?
Right. And that's going to take forensic accounting, and that's going to take our elected officials to put some real, hard-earned. And I'm just going to say it out loud. I think the Justice Department is going to have to eventually get involved. I think this is a scam. I think that it's really a scam, that they've hid the money away. Like, we found out tobacco companies and other companies that knew, Johnson & Johnson knew that their baby powder was causing cancer. Monsanto knew that the grass, fertilizer was killing people. And so it's either Justice Department or these attorneys that are willing to go to battle and have the resources to do forensic accounting to find out where your premiums are and where your deductibles are, and what CEO got a $14 million pay raise, or a bonus.
Yes.
And meanwhile, people in Florida don't have roofs, need mold remediation. I mean, I don't know, Rob, what's the lowest cost of mold remediation? What is it, like 10,000?
I don't know. It's in the thousands.
I just called today.
It's not something you can just go in and do today. You have to put equipment in and dryers in, and the drywall's been wet, so you have to go till it gets dry, and then you have to put stuff in to kill the mold. It's big money.
What did you find out, Karen? What you called today and what?
I called out today to find out what it was for the mold remediation.
Yes, ma'am.
And first off, just to come and check the air quality is their first
step.
Mm-hmm. It's $1,200 to do that. And then he's guesstimating without seeing it. It starts around $10,000. But I can't even take a home equity loan out right now because they say home has to be inspected. And with the roof in disrepair, I can't I can't even get a home equity loan.
Right.
So I'm between a rock and a hard place.
Let me ask you a question. Just out of curiosity, something that popped in my head. Karen or Dr. Jody, has any speculative investors called you and tried to buy your property?
Oh, all the time. With me, all the time. I mean, at least 3 a day. They're just so nice, so nice. Oh yeah, and it's, of course, I'm very suspect. But when they see a tarp's on the roof and the tarp's on the roof, and I've had a battle with the HOA because the tarp's on the roof, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, Karen, we have that in common. And I'm just going to say, as your health coach, do we know if it's allergies or asthma? Do we know with you? We're going to find out.
Asthmatic. I mean, I'm an asthmatic. This has been I thought because during season, which is usually the spring and the fall, I mean, we're into winter now and I'm still, I'm to the point, but what gets me is, I mean, I'm puffing on my puffer more times than not now, right? I take Ventolin PRN and I'm taking it all the time. What gets me more importantly is my daughter, who is healthy. She's 30 years old and she's like tight and now complaining of asthma. And today was the first, she's like, wow, my chest hurts. And I'm feeling my chest today. And it's like, what do? And the remediator's like, well, you leave the house. Where do I go?
Right.
I don't have family down here. I don't have people I can just dump me and my animals and my plants and everything else.
Right. Wow, this is a crisis, and I applaud the three of you and Carrie, who was with us earlier, for being here to have this conversation. I'm also happy that because of Dr. Jody, we know we have ABC News, a local affiliate, to go to and try to have a different kind of conversation. Their conversation was good. I think they started talking about some things, but unfortunately, they didn't really have anybody like you guys, who are dealing with this every day on their panel. They did have a local politician, state senator, but we need Congress. We need federal money, and I'm not a fan of FEMA at all, but I think this is an emergency. I think this is a crisis and an emergency, and at least that we could do as far as how much taxes we pay is to get some federal attention to this project and to this process, to this process of these companies just deciding to leave the state and leave everybody holding their bag but them.
And Martin, I'd like to just give a shout out to Congressman Donald's office down in Sarasota, that they were very receptive to us as well. And he ran his campaign for Congress on just helping out insurance. And I think and Richard Click, who's a public adjuster of 35 years that Carrie used, he's joined our movement, and my attorney, Rob Cook. So we need more of y'all. We can get 10 people up on this StreamYard screen, and let's grow this so we know that we have somewhere to go. That was my final comment. Thank you, Martin, for this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob, for taking time out your busy schedule. I know you're tired, been working all day. Appreciate all of you. Please go to the website, universalnorthamericasucks.com. Leave your information. We'll be back next month, which is in a week or so. We'll be back in December to have another conversation at some time. So stay by the screen or email inbox and let us know that you are following us so we can send you information when we'll be back. Thanks, everybody. Please be safe and be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you both.